Welcome. For this project, we're going to make a basic HTML old school website. We use primarily HTML code with a little bit of CSS cascading style sheets code. We'll get deeper into CSS in future projects. Now you could complete this project using any basic text editor that comes with your computer. You could also download a code editor from online such as Sublime. But I've chosen to do this project through Adobe Dreamweaver. It's a great code editor, plus it gives you the option of working on the visual side. And it gives you great previews for what the website will actually look like when it's published, how the viewer will see it through the browser. It also has a lot of prepared code and code frameworks that we'll use in future projects. It's a great all-purpose code editor, website builder for web developers and web designers. But before we get started, we're going to make a folder, a root folder, where all of our files for this project will be saved. Unlike Microsoft Word documents or JPEGs or Photoshop files, websites need several files to work together. Files for code, files for images, files for JavaScript. So several files working together to preview or to render that website in the browser for the viewer. So once we start creating this folder and putting different files and folders, we want to be careful not to rearrange them, not just to take things out, not move things around, or else our website will not work correctly. Now I'm going to make a root folder, a site folder for this project where we will keep all these files. I'm going to work on the desktop since I'm not going to publish this website. I could work on a local server and publish it to the internet from there. I could also work on a remote server and upload it to there and publish it to the internet. But for this project we will not. So through Dreamweaver we can work on a desktop. You can work through your documents folder on your computer or an external hard drive or flash drive. And one other thing I should suggest here is that you back up anything you make, any of your work. So once you make this folder and work on it for a while, you may want to duplicate it onto another device in case something happens to your flash drive, to your computer. You could also upload a version of this to the cloud just to be safe. Always back things up, especially if you like to tinker and play with code and experiment with your files. Always have a backup file that was working, and then you can duplicate that whole folder, your whole site folder, if you want to experiment. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to right click, make a new folder for this project, which is a history based website. I'm going to call it history _ site. This is my root folder or site folder. Notice I'm using no capital letters. Instead of spaces, I'm using an underscore. Shift and click the button by 0. That'll give you that underscore. Usually in these folders and files we will not use capital letters or spaces. I'm going to open that file. I'm going to right click and make a new folder. This is going to be for my images. Sometimes you see this as an assets folder, images, pictures, but we're going to use images. Okay, now that's my site folder. So when I open Dreamweaver, I could start working on a file, but I should always connect to my site folder first. Whether it's on my desktop, in a local server, or on a remote server, I would always connect to that site folder first. I will also connect to this images folder. So when I make this website, it is actually saved correctly, things are placed in the correct location. Now I'm ready for Dreamweaver. If you have not used Dreamweaver yet, make sure you download Adobe Creative Cloud, and it should be available through your school. If it is downloaded and you're using a Mac, it should show up here in the menu bar. And there's several different selections you can click on here at the top, but what we're interested right now is the apps. Several different apps in here you could download that you might find useful, such as Photoshop. But today we're going to look for Dreamweaver. It's the green box with the DW, Dreamweaver. It's been around a long time, so it's very useful. And you click install, download. It should take a few minutes to install that. Every once in a while you may want to check back here, like mine. It says it's ready for a new update. but once it's installed, we should be ready to go. Once it's installed, it should go into your applications folder along with any other Adobe products you download, and you can click here, and once again it's that green box with the DW. I could double click that to open it. I could also drag this down to my dock down here like I have, and that way it's permanently down here, that link, and I can click on that. Alright, so it may take a second to open Dreamweaver, and it usually comes up to this welcome message. And if you're signed in through your name, it'll say hello and call you by name. And there's several things we could do here through this window. But first, let's look at the interface. Just like many other software programs, we have a menu bar at the top with some familiar things. Some preferences and such under the Dreamweaver. We have File, New, Open, Recent, Import, Export, just like many other software. Some edit selections, different ways we can view our pages, insert different elements, tools we may want to use if we need to look for something specific, connect to our site, windows, different panels with many different uses. We'll go over several of these, and a help search box which we could ask for help if we need it. Okay, now in Dreamweaver, most of our coding and our interface or view of our website will be web pages will be right out here in this area, and here's where those windows or panels will open up. Files is a great panel to have open. Insert and CSS Designer. I'm going to have Files. Also, this could be, you could click this workspace from Standard to Developer once you get used to that, but we're going to stick with Standard for now. Okay, now before we even make a new folder or a new file, we want to connect to that site, to that root folder we just made. If you just jump in and start making this website without connecting to that site, things may be placed in the wrong place, may not be saved correctly. So let's go up here to Site, New Site. Now, if we already have a site made, we could go to Manage Sites. Let's go to New Site. We're just going to connect through a couple different ways. First, we want to connect to that root folder, that site folder we just made. And you can give this site a name. It could be the same as your folder, it could be different. I'm going to call mine history_site. Now, after I type that out, I have to look for that folder, local site folder. Click there to browse. Mine's on my desktop. I'm looking for that folder, and there it is, history_site. And stop right there. Do not click on the images folder at this time. Do not click the images folder. I'm just connected to that site folder and choose. There we are. Now we're going to go to Advanced Settings and Local Info. Next thing we're going to do is connect to our default images folder. So now Dreamweaver, whenever I want to add images, Dreamweaver will know where to look. Or if I want to save images, it will know where to look. And I will choose that and save. Root folder, and we are connected to the images folder. If I ever want to come back, if I connected to the wrong thing or hit save too soon, or if I want to change things, I could always come back to Site, Manage Sites. I could collect on this site and hit Edit right here, that pencil. And I could change the name of the site or connect to a different site, connect to a different local images folder, whatever I need to do. Now we'll look at a lot of these other settings when we actually work through a server, but for now we're just going to work on the desktop. Alright, I think we're ready to make our first file. Our first file will be our home page. So let's go ahead and hit Create New. Another way to make a new file will be up here through File, New. But with Dreamweaver you can also go through Create New. Now this is going to be a new document. We will also experiment with templates in the future. Right now we're just going to do a blank document. We want this to be an HTML document. You can see we can make CSS, JavaScript, JSON, PHP, XML, all kinds of other documents, but today we're going to do the basic old school HTML document. And we can also have a pre-made framework such as Bootstrap, which we'll do in a project later on, but now we want none, no pre-made framework. We could give our document a title at this point. now the title is not the file extension. It's a title that will show up in the browser title bar. And I'm gonna call mine History Nature Home Page. I may come back and change this, but that's what I'm calling it for now. Now, what type of document do we want? We're going to use the latest version of HTML, HTML5. We don't have a CSS file ready to attach, so we're not going to worry about that. Let's double check. New document, HTML, none for frameworks, HTML5. I think we're ready. Let's hit create. Alright, here, so this gives us our blank document. Now this gives us our live view. We also have a code view, which shows us the code, the actual visuals of the website that would show up on the browser, or we could just look at the code view. Well, the first thing we should always do in any program when we're opening a new file is save it. So let's save this. File, save as, and we're connected to that root folder, so it should automatically go to that folder. You could make a different folder for your pages, but for this project, let's keep all of our pages at this top level. Now this is going to be our home page, and we're not going to call it home page. A home page is usually called index, I-N-D-E-X .html. Now please take a second, make sure you double check it before you hit save. Save as index.html. No capital letters, no spaces. Make sure it's a period or dot HTML, not a comma, not HMLT, LBBC, ABC. Make sure it's index.html. To avoid a lot of problems in web design and web development, you have to make sure the code is correct. Now Dreamweaver will help you out a little bit with that, but a lot of things will slip by if you're not careful. So please double, triple check everything, or else things won't work. One letter off, one punctuation off, and things will not work. Alright, let's save that page, and there's our first page ready to go. In our next video, we'll look around Dreamweaver here and see what some of the functions are.